GM, everybody, welcome back to the PPC Mastery Podcast. Or actually, this is episode 1. Today, we're going to be talking about
How it all started.
how it all started with PPC Mastery, with PPC Masteries. In this episode, we want to take you through our journey about how we started out in Google Ads, but also how we met and how that eventually led to us starting a business together, which
Formal business.
formal business, which we're doing happily now, happily married.
Still happily married.
Still for now. No, but yeah, I think it would be nice to just kick it off with how we both started in Google Ads, because we have really similar backgrounds, not only in Google Ads, but literally where we grew up. I say this sometimes on the streams, but not a lot of people know this. We grew up like literally 10, 15 kilometers from each other, and we never met in our youth.
There was just 2 small cities in between.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also we grew up in the eastern part of the Netherlands, like the Achterhoek, which is in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, sort of.
Sort of like small villages.
Yeah.
But you grew up on one part where you go to a school in your city, and I grew up in another part where I went to a school in another city.
Yeah.
So our paths never met. I think maybe we might have played each other with football one time. You never know.
Yeah. It could be.
Yeah.
I was playing soccer at SV Grol,
Mhm.
and I was a goalkeeper, and I was goalkeeping in the first the A1, the first class, basically. So I guess you were also playing soccer in a upper class.
Yeah, no, I was usually in the second teams, but anyway, long story short,
maybe,
but
yeah.
maybe somewhere, maybe not.
Yeah.
But yeah, we grew up really close to each other, but we never met. And then we met online through LinkedIn, but we'll get to that in a second.
Yeah.
But maybe you can tell us a little bit about your journey in Google Ads, and how did that start, and how did that lead you to becoming a freelancer and starting your own business?
Yeah. So I'll try to keep it short.
Yeah.
Since I'm curious about your story as well over
Yeah.
here. When I started out in the work field, online marketing and Google Ads didn't really come to my mind in the first place.
Mhm.
So actually, I started out as a call center employee working for one of the bigger banks in the Netherlands.
Mhm.
I worked for the Rabobank, where I basically consulted businesses on certain insurances, about certain bank accounts, stuff like that. Really simple stuff. And I was hired by a company that basically put employees like me at different Rabobank headquarters across all of the Netherlands. And I had to work in the southern part of the Netherlands in Tilburg, which is very, very far away from Groenlo, the Achterhoek, where we grew up.
And
So
you
I
were
had
still
to-
living in Groenlo?
I was still living there. My girlfriend at the time was still studying in Nijmegen. So Nijmegen was already halfway there. But from Groenlo to Tilburg, it was like an hour and almost a 2-hour drive.
Yeah.
And I had to do it every single day. So I really liked the paycheck in the first
course.
couple of months. Of course. But after 5 months, I really started to
Get tired.
dislike, got tired about driving across. So that's when I quit. And during that time, luckily, I had some B&B nights where I could stay from Monday to Wednesday. So I didn't have to drive all of the week. And during the evenings, I started to get bored. Since you're on your own, you're not really sure, okay, I'm in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
I was hiring an Airbnb at a farm. So during the evenings, I was easily bored. And that's when I started my first web shop in rims, in exclusive wheels for cars.
Nice.
So I'm a car guy, and that's what I like. I still like cars a lot. So that's when I started experimenting with a Shopify store.
Yeah.
Actually, it was a open cart store.
Oh my God.
One of the earliest CMS systems. But it worked great. So I started experimenting with that. And once I got things rolling, I had to promote the web shop, right? So that's when I dabbled in Google Ads, SEO, analytics, all of the parts across online marketing. So I was building this e-commerce shop for myself during the evenings just to get not bored. And I was getting bored and getting tired of my job, my regular job. And during a particular weekend, I just had something like, hey, I'm just going to stop. with the job I'm doing right now.
Were you working full time?
Yeah,
Yeah.
full
Okay.
time. I was really sick and tired of it.
Mhm.
And this online marketing stuff seems to be pretty cool.
Mhm.
So let's dive into that part and let's continue exploring the online marketing scene. So that's when I started to look around in my region, the Achterhoek,
Yeah.
Twente,
Mm.
the eastern part of the Netherlands, and started to look for a traineeship opportunity. So my plan was to get a traineeship
Yeah.
place somewhere and just observe the online marketing services and specialisms as much as possible.
Mm.
And that's when I got hired at a local online marketing agency. I stayed there for 1 year and got in touch with Google Ads, project management, SEO. And Google Ads was basically the thing that I liked the most.
Yeah.
So at my second job, I started to dive into Google Ads full time. That's where I stayed 2 complete years. And after 3 years or so, I felt like I was senior enough to start a business for myself. But that's maybe something that we can dive into together after you have done your introduction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then you worked there for a few years and then you went freelance, right?
Yeah. And I didn't quit immediately.
Yeah.
I didn't quit my job at the agency, the second agency I worked for, straight away, and went freelancing full time. I basically built up my freelancing clients and traded in some holiday days at the agency side, and basically went for a soft shift from a paycheck based job to full-time freelancing.
How long did it take you then until you went freelance full time?
Half a year.
Oh, okay.
Half a year.
Yeah.
So I
Decent.
started in my weekends.
Yeah.
I started in my evening hours.
Yeah.
So I worked 40 hours a week full time for the agency as a Google Ads specialist. And once I got my weekends filled to the max, I couldn't take the time to go to the pub anymore with the boys.
Yeah.
And my evenings were fully stacked.
No more time for the girlfriend.
No more time for the girlfriend. And I received complaints.
Yep.
That's when I started to scale down the agency
yeah.
part. So I went from 5 days to 4 days on a contract basis. So instead of working 40 hours, I worked 32 hours. And from there, I started to toss in the holiday days.
Yeah.
So instead of going on holiday for 2 weeks, 3 weeks per year, I basically just got 1 free day every single week. So apart, if you do that 4 times a month and then for 6 months long, you basically have 24 holiday days that you can trade in. So I basically worked 3 days for the agency and then 4 days for myself, including the weekend and all of the evening hours. And once my revenue of the freelance business surpassed the paycheck amount, that's when I basically killed the agency position. And it was about time because I was almost, I had like burnout symptoms already.
Dude, and I think, and we'll get to that as well, but this pattern completely repeated itself with PPC Mastery. Exactly the same. Exactly the same. Well, we'll get we'll get to that in a second. But
how did your journey start?
Yeah, it's similar. When I graduated college in January 2017, I think. Yeah, 17. I went abroad with my girlfriend for 4 months. We traveled around Southeast Asia. And then I came back and I was still living in Groningen. I was studying there. Then we came back and I moved to Amsterdam, but I had no idea what I wanted to do. I studied international communication, so it's quite broad. But I honestly didn't have an idea of what I wanted to do. And then I was working at the Macro for part-time on the
shelves.
Yeah, filling the shelves, but I was also working in the wine department. And I had to give advice for people what kind of wine. I have no knowledge about wine whatsoever. So
you don't drink alcohol at all.
No, not really. Back then I did more than now, but now I don't really do it as much anymore. But I was working at the wine department part-time, just thinking about what I wanted to do. And then I wanted to dabble in online marketing as well, but didn't know how. And then my girlfriend, she came across a traineeship at Traffic for You in Amsterdam. And that's when I applied there. And it was supposed to be an online marketing traineeship where you learn about all the disciplines or online advertising. So first you do a bit of PPC or Google Ads, then social
Mhm.
SEO. But they changed it in the last moment to only a Google
Oh,
Ads
wow.
traineeship.
Mm.
And I already got the job, but then they said, yeah, it's going to be Google Ads. And I was like, okay, sure, whatever. It doesn't, I don't mind.
Yeah.
I was actually interested in social back
Mhm.
then, but then, yeah, I did Google Ads and I was completely happy with it. I loved it from the first moment.
Mhm.
Felt a lot like playing a game, really. And
And you really had to use your mind and
yeah,
your advanced tactic skills back then.
exactly.
The skag structure.
Yeah. It was a totally different game still.
Totally different game.
At that moment, it was
All the
early
bad structures.
2018. Yeah, it was before smart bidding it was already there, but it wasn't really good yet.
No.
But then, yeah, I did the traineeship for 6 months, and then I stayed there for 2 more years. And then, yeah, it's similar to what you did. You really like Google Ads, and you wanted to do more of that. I had the same. I was working with a lot of small, medium, and big e-com clients.
Mhm.
And that's when I learned everything about the whole game of Google Ads. And then in 2020, it was always my goal to start there, learn about as much as I can in a short amount of period as possible,
Mhm.
and then quit and go build something of my own.
So
First,
did you knew you wanted to start freelancing right before you entered the building?
no. At first, I actually wanted to build my own e-com business
Mm.
because I was also experimenting a bit with Shopify, drop shipping,
Yeah.
those kinds of things on the side. And I thought, okay, if I work at an agency, I will learn whatever is needed to build that for myself. So
Yeah.
that's why I'm also only doing e-com right now is
Mhm.
because first it was my goal to run my own e-com
Yeah,
store.
epic.
Yeah. And at the agency where I worked at, I pushed them a lot to give me e-com clients. I didn't want to do any lead gen, nothing, no finance. I only wanted to do
No
e-com,
B2B shit.
no B2B shit. And it took quite some time, but in the end, yeah, I got a really nice e-com portfolio.
Awesome.
But then as time progressed, I saw from those e-com brands that it's really hard, man. Like running an e-com store, it's really difficult and low margins and
Race to the bottom.
yeah, race to the
Yeah.
bottom, high advertising costs. And I have a lot of respect for e-com store owners because it's not an easy business model with
Mhm.
inventory that you need to buy and whatever. So then I saw, okay, I don't want to do that anymore. But yeah, I did meet some other freelancers, Wouter Amersfoort and Dolf Kos. I have to shout them out because Wouter, he was working at one of the clients that I was working for. He was
Yeah.
the interim freelancer there. So I was chatting to him like, hey, what are you doing?
Mhm.
Sounds interesting.
What
And
is your
then,
hourly rate?
yeah, he told me, yeah, he actually told me his hourly rate. I was calculating,
Ooh.
oh, okay, so that's probably 5 times as much as I'm making,
So
something
that's
like
why
that.
he can drive a nice BMW.
Yeah, the Tesla, a nice Tesla. Yeah. And they convinced me to go freelance, and that was right before COVID came. Then COVID hit, and I thought, okay, now is the time. I was working from home. Thought, okay, maybe now is the time to go freelance. So I got my first freelance client on the side.
Mhm.
That's also another story to tell in a different podcast. I think
Mhm.
it's quite interesting how I got that. But then, yeah, I was making more with that one client alone than my whole monthly income at the agency. So then I thought, okay,
And how long did you have
I'm
to work
I'm out of here.
for that client in terms of hours?
16 per week,
16
so
hours. Yeah.
less than half a week.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
insane, right?
yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah.
So then I thought, okay, now it's time. And then 3 months later, I quit, got a few other clients, and then yeah, built the
And
whole
you were
freelance thing.
quite off cold turkey in the switch, right?
Yeah,
You were
I'm
like, YOLO.
yeah. If it was up to
Yeah.
me, then I would have probably quit even earlier. But my
Yeah.
girlfriend, she also slowed me down a little bit in
Yeah.
that process. Okay, let's take some time, build up a little bit of a buffer, and then go.
Mhm.
But then I got the day that I quit
Mhm.
was when I got an offer for a big job at Ring
Oh,
at the
wow.
time, an interim freelance gig. Yeah, that was the proof again for me.
Problem
Yeah,
solved.
problem solved. It will work out in the end, and yeah, that's when I built my whole freelance business,
Awesome.
and I've been doing that now for 3 years. And around that time, we were all actually talking to each other because I looked it up in my DMs, and I think we connected on LinkedIn for the first time in around early 2020. But it was just like, oh, you were freelancing, I wasn't yet,
Mhm.
and we were talking about that a little bit, exchanging Google Ads tips
Mhm.
and exchanging also freelance tips.
Mhm.
So our conversations go back 2 years or so prior to when we launched PPC Mastery,
Yeah, epic.
yeah, it's really cool. So
And it was real quiet on LinkedIn back then.
yeah, nobody was sharing anything. Nobody. Not nobody. Almost
Mm.
nobody.
Mhm.
Last time I said that there was nobody sharing anything. I got a lot of shit words. So I will say, I won't say nobody and everybody and always and never. There's always nuances. It's like in PPC. So don't feel offended if I say something. But no, jokes aside, it was really quiet back then on LinkedIn, and I think we were trying to do a little bit with posting and trying to build up something for ourselves.
Yeah, some social exposure,
some social exposure.
trying to build a personal brand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you were also already doing some like courses and
Yeah, in Dutch.
for beginners, right?
Yeah, I was doing Google Ads beginner courses in Dutch.
Mm.
And I started doing physical courses in the middle of the Netherlands in Utrecht because I thought Utrecht is quite central for everyone in the Netherlands. So if you're from Friesland or the eastern part, the Achterhoek, people want to drive to Utrecht most of the times.
Yeah.
So that went really well. I was doing a physical course every single month for six people, 6 persons.
Nice.
And I was asking $495 ex VAT. So when I was sending out the invoices, I was already like, oh, wait a minute, I'm making 3K a day. Maybe I'm onto something here already, since when I was freelancing, I was asking an hourly rate in the beginning of 85 euros per hour ex VAT. So yeah, if you're able to ramp up the volumes by scaling to a course, that was quite interesting.
Yeah.
So from there, I started building my own online based course, also teaching the exact same thing, but with a little bit more screen sharing going on.
Yeah.
Because of the physical courses are more theoretical. You're not able to share as much as you can with the over the shoulder videos if you build an online course. So the online course was way more extensive. I think it was like 22 hours.
Yeah.
Just basic simple stuff.
Yeah.
And the physical course was 8 hours, which was too long and too intensive already. People
whole
were
day.
like, holy shit, man. I cannot, my brain is cooked.
Mashed potatoes.
Mashed potatoes. But what I found really funny was that people see online courses as less valuable as physical courses.
Yeah.
So I was only able to ask 245 euros for the online course, where I could ask 495 for the physical one, and it was 3 times shorter.
Yeah.
So it's still very weird to me. But yeah, back then it was called PPC Mastery already. So we basically used the I think it's still a great name, since we can use it for multiple things. But now we transitioned to, obviously we are doing it both of us, and it's in English.
International
Focus instead of just Dutch.
And then maybe we can jump to last year when you reached out to me to see if we can collaborate on something. What was going through your mind, and why did you reach out to me? Because that was July 2022.
Yeah, so you were building a course as well.
Yeah.
I was mainly focused on search, since I am more lead gen, SaaS focused in my day-to-day work. Back then. And you were fully specialized in e-com, and I saw you were building a shopping course. And I thought this could be interesting to team up with. And since you were posting very, very frequently with really in-depth great posts on LinkedIn already, I thought, hey, maybe I'm onto something here, and maybe it's better to team up or at least try out a certain collaboration, since we're after the same thing. Because I was feeling through my screen that you were trying to make a switch from your freelancing work to also a course knowledge sharing focused work week, so to say. And I was like, maybe we can collaborate instead of just seeing each other as a competitor. Because eventually, if we're both focusing on the Dutch market, the Dutch market becomes way too small really soon. So that's when I sent you a message. Hey, Miles, maybe we can do something together. And I'm not sure in what kind of format, but maybe a webinar, maybe a free training, maybe even an ebook that we can write out together. And I guess you responded very, very enthusiastically about that idea. And in that time, we had a big shift from smart shopping to PMax. So it was a great time to share all of our knowledge
Mm-hmm.
in regards to PMax with the world.
Yeah.
And that was basically our first webinar we did.
Yeah. Yeah. And I
Yeah.
think what I really liked
Yeah.
about your message was that you reached out and and this is why it worked between us is we're already chatting. It's not out of nothing. You said, hey, let's build a
Yeah.
course together or let's build a business together. We were already speaking to each other for years.
Online. We never met.
Online. Yeah. Never met. Not even a call.
We met last year in Malaga.
Yeah. 3 months after we started the business. We were only spoken in DMs, but it was only about helping each other and sharing value and seeing how you're working with specific clients. I remember I was working with Ring interim job and that was 4 days per week. So it was like a big gig. And you said, no, it's much nicer to have a portfolio of more clients.
Yeah.
Now that got me thinking as well.
I
So
had like 40 clients back then.
that's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's insane. Yeah, that's how we spoke before we even did something together. And then you reached out. You said, "Yeah, maybe we can do something together in form of a webinar or a podcast episode or something like that."
And the reason behind that was also because you had a great following already.
Yeah,
And I had also a similar following back then.
yeah, something
I
around like
guess.
3,000 followers or so
Yeah,
on LinkedIn.
3,000-4,000
Yeah,
each.
yeah,
But you had completely different followers than I had. So
Yeah.
I was like, hey, there's something for the both of us in here.
Yeah.
If we team up, your following will meet Bob
Mhm,
and my following will meet Miles.
yeah.
And we will do basically a cross following, share out some followers.
And that's
hopefully.
exactly, sorry to interrupt, but that's
Yeah.
exactly why the DM that you sent was so good because you said in the space of what's in it for me.
Yeah.
That's the exchange that we can both get value from this instead of you want to extract value from me or I want to extract value from you. It's like, how can we do something that is mutually beneficial?
And
And
you were like,
yeah, okay, interesting.
why that's not?
also because it was you. I knew who you were, and I knew that you're a trustworthy guy in terms of what you show online of your knowledge about PPC. So that was a no-brainer for me to at least get on a call. And I remember you were in the camper van back then in France, where it was like 40 degrees or so. It was crazy hot.
Yeah, it was terrible.
Yeah, but we hit it off. I think we vibed on a personal level as well, which was even more important because both of us, in our character, we will never start a business with someone that we do not dislike or do not vibe with. Some people will go into a business with someone because they think that it will be a good opportunity. Oh yeah, maybe we don't really like each other, but we can build a big business. But that was never our goal. We just want to, enjoy life as much as possible on our own terms.
And we have the same personal goals.
Exactly.
And business related goals.
Yeah.
And that's maybe something that we can talk about in the future episode
Yeah,
as well.
yeah.
And we are really aligned on that idea as well.
Yeah.
So a lot of things
Lifestyle
basically
goals.
matched.
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of it matched.
Yeah. And that's when we did the first webinar, Performance Max Mastery webinar. And that went really well. I think we got 900 plus registrations and 500 people were there live and it was crazy. Yeah. It was also because, as you said, it was PMax. So it was all new.
People were afraid of losing their jobs.
Yeah. 100%. And
it was a big unknown black box and nobody really knew how to handle such a thing, how to handle such a beast.
Yeah.
And I thought we had some great insights and some great best practices already.
Yeah.
And people really loved it.
Yeah. And I think also people loved it because we were doing it together. People didn't really expect that. So some people already knew both of us individually, and then they saw, oh, these guys are doing something together. Oh, okay, let's check it out. And as you said, some people from my network discovered you, and some people from your network discovered me. And I think we have good chemistry between us also when we're doing those webinars. It's always a bunch of fun as well. We're laughing, making jokes, and I think people really, really, really enjoyed that. And off the back of that webinar, we sold our first version of Performance Max Mastery, which I think we got 10 sales or so at that webinar. So we're like, okay, this is
nice.
It's quite nice.
Yeah.
Let's see what we can do more. But we didn't start the business yet. And you just mentioned that you were already owning the PPC Mastery brand.
Yeah.
And
how did we do that in the first couple of months?
Yeah, we
did we already buy the domain?
No, we were still thinking about what would be the name of our project together. And then we had some ideas, but nothing was really like good where we thought, okay, this is something that we can take seriously. And then I remember I sent you a message like, what if we just take PPC Mastery as a brand,
Mhm.
but the .com domain was already taken by someone else, and you
Was
had
for sale.
yeah, it was
Yeah.
for sale, and you had the .nl domain. So before we did anything with the first few thousand of revenue that we got, we bought the ppcmastery.com domain.
Yeah. Yeah. And we
I think it was
traded in
like
all of the
2.5K
revenue.
or so. Yeah.
I think even more.
Maybe even more. Yeah.
I think it was 4.5.
Yeah, something like
Yeah.
that, which was crazy at
All
that
the
time.
revenue gone, but
Exactly.
but it was worth it. And
Totally
it's still
worth it.
still a great name
Yeah,
as far as what I'm concerned.
for sure. And we already had the branding and the logo and everything, so
But
that was perfect.
all the things we tied together in the back end to make the first course work.
Yeah,
We
dude.
we got a payment system like Peggy Pay or something like
Oh,
that.
yeah. Oh,
All of the
dude.
terrible we the accountant we had was basically extremely mad because all of the VAT stuff
Yeah.
wasn't done, and it was one total mess.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
Dude, we had so many things where you just started, you just do it, and we'll see. We'll figure it
Yeah,
out
we'll figure it out.
once we hit the problems.
We'll create problems first.
Yeah, and then we'll solve them,
Yeah.
which is a good mindset, I think, in
Yeah.
business.
And yeah. And also, I think we sold. Did we sold the PMax course? Yeah, we sold it first before we actually finalized the product.
Yeah.
So
before
that
you
was
make-
also takeaway.
Yeah. That's something that I believe
Sell
heavily
before,
in is
yeah.
sell before you make, to
Mhm.
validate the idea, because
Yeah.
a mistake that I made before when you spoke about the shopping course that I was creating, I built out the whole thing. Yeah, and really, like the whole took me weeks and weeks, maybe
Yeah.
even months to build. Like
Yeah.
a course is not easy to create
Oh no,
and film and edit and everything.
really time consuming.
Really time consuming.
Yeah.
And then I was ready to sell it and was like, nobody wanted to buy it. Did a webinar. I got 3 sales. Shout out to those guys that bought it. And then later on, I got maybe like 10 more sales or so. Nothing major. So then I got the idea from someone else about sell before you make, to
Mhm.
validate the idea. And then basically what that helps you to do is, okay, if you get some sales, then you get the green light because people are actually waiting for this product, and then you build it out and you ship it to them
Mhm.
on a date that you agree on. Don't
Yeah.
sell something and not give them anything. That would be scamming.
Mhm.
But if they buy, if only 2 or 3 people buy, then you can just refund them. Say the project is not going through.
Yeah.
Here's your money back. Maybe next time. And then you haven't wasted the time of creating the whole product.
Mhm.
Yeah, I really like that.
And we sold it quite well.
Yeah,
the
man.
first couple of weeks,
sure.
and then we had to build it and ship it.
Mhm.
And I can still recall that was a very, very stressful.
Because you had
period.
to do it on top of all the freelance
Yeah,
work. Yeah.
I was fully stuffed with freelance clients, and I had to do this in my evening hours and
Yeah.
in the weekends
Yeah.
from a camper van.
Yep.
In the evenings.
Yep.
If you watch back the version 1 Performance Max Mastery course,
Yeah.
a lot of the videos that I recorded are in the dark. I didn't have proper lighting going
Yeah,
on.
yeah.
It was just a big black silhouette
Yeah,
of me
yeah.
trying to teach.
At
the
least you had
latest-
the good audio. That was good.
Yeah. Did I have the
Yeah,
right-
you had it.
Okay.
I didn't have it. I was
Okay.
only doing
Yeah,
it on the
you were
headphones.
recording through your headsets.
Yeah, not good.
So right now we're creating a version 2.
Yep.
But the leap in just 1 year from a very extremely low production value course to
Yeah.
what we have in place right now, it's such a leap.
But what we had going for us was the
Yeah.
quality of the course. So
Yeah,
that's why
the
people
content
liked
yeah.
it. The content.
Yeah.
Yeah, the content was
Yeah.
good. Even if you have a V1 course that is low production value, if the audio, you need good audio. But even if
Mhm.
everything else, the decks were definitely not on the level that we have now.
But
The
they were
video,
okay.
but they were okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, the content for sure. But
Yeah.
the way that we structured the slides, some of them were really messy,
Mhm.
but they were okay
Mhm.
for V1, because I think one thing that can stop you from progressing is being too much of a perfectionist,
Mhm.
especially if you're launching a first version.
Yeah.
Then speed matters to
And
a
we-
certain
and we
degree.
had traction. We
Yeah,
needed,
exactly.
We needed speed.
Yeah, and we needed to deliver to everybody that
Also.
pre-ordered it. But then, now after a year, we're upgrading it, and the quality is going to be much better.
Mhm.
But that was the first traction that we got, and then we got a message from our friends over at Lunio,
Mhm.
if you wanted to do a webinar together with them. So I think that was the first thing where people saw us as, oh, these guys are making moves.
Mhm.
Maybe we can invite them over to do something together.
Mhm.
And we were doing everything, like
Yeah.
a Lunio webinar, and
We
then
said
profit.
yes to
Yeah, we said it
everything.
yes to everything. Profit metrics, and everybody that sent us a DM, oh, maybe we can collaborate or have an idea. We did everything, and we were all over the place with everything
Yeah.
that we were
We didn't
creating.
really have a focus.
No focus,
No.
not yet.
No.
But then it started to become better, and we decided to start a real business. Yeah, what do you remember from that time? Was it, what impact did that have on your freelance work, or yeah, on your business apart from PPC Mastery?
When we started out with PPC Mastery as a formal business on paper, that's when we also launched the audit templates, for what I can recall.
Yeah.
And those were doing great as well,
Yeah.
in terms of sales and revenue. So that's when I started to think or see, hey, we're definitely on to something here,
Mhm.
and we have to do something with this. We cannot just shake each other hands and thanks for the great course and then go freelancing
Yeah.
again.
Yeah.
We saw that something was brewing, and we just had to take the dive.
Yeah. And we were still freelancing.
And we were still
course.
freelancing. We were still freelancing. I have always been this guy that likes to wait to see
Risk
how
risk averse.
risk averse.
Yeah.
Thank you. To see how things develop. So I was like, hey, if we want to go all in, the full 100% on this, we have to see certain consistent revenues
Yeah.
each single month before I feel comfortable saying goodbye to some of my freelance
Yeah.
clients.
Yeah.
And that took way longer, way longer than expected.
Yeah.
And I guess you also hoped for. So you were kind of like, hey, this works.
Yeah.
And this is exactly what I was looking for
Yeah.
the last couple of years.
Yeah.
F my freelance clients.
Okay, I'll explain that in a more nuanced way.
I'm going all in.
Yeah.
I'm going all.
That's the story. But yeah, I was always looking at something to do on the side of freelancing, build something.
Yeah.
But yeah, when I saw that we were getting traction, I was saying goodbye to some of the lower end of my freelance clients, but I was still keeping the big clients, also because they make for good case study materials.
But your lower end clients were already clients that did 5K plus or in revenue for you every single month together combined.
Yeah.
And I did the same,
Yeah.
but my lower end clients were like 300 euros,
Yeah, fair
400
enough.
euros.
Yeah.
And I still had the bigger ones that
Yeah.
I was like, I
Yeah.
cannot really let go of these
Yeah.
because what if Miles betrays me and I have to. So I hold on to those clients
Yeah.
for way too long.
Yeah.
And in the last couple of months, PPC Mastery just, took off
Mhm.
every single month,
Yeah.
month after month after month. And I was
Yeah.
still stuck on these clients
Yeah.
that I didn't want to get rid of
Mhm.
until recently.
Recently.
Yeah.
Yeah. And my personality is much more, okay, I see that it's going well.
Yeah.
I trust that it's going to continue to go
Mhm.
well. I'm in it for the long game. You're in it for the long game.
Mhm.
Then I have to free up some time somewhere, because I don't want to work on the weekends or late in the evenings to compensate.
I was doing that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Still.
So you were working 5 days a week, just a regular work week for
Yeah.
PPC Mastery,
Yeah.
including some of the freelance clients.
Yeah, let's say
just
3.5
just a bunch of
days,
them.
PPC Mastery,
Yeah.
1.5 freelance clients or something.
And I was doing 4 or 5 days a week freelancing,
Yeah.
and then basically working for PPC Mastery every single evening and
Yep.
every single weekend to
Yep.
make up for the time you
Yeah.
had spent in.
Yeah.
You had spent already. Yeah, that really broke up or really got me exhausted at some point.
Yeah.
So that's when I had to kill certain relationships.
Mhm.
Unfortunately, I had great clients.
Yeah.
I still have some that are great, but it was really, really hard for me to say goodbye.
Yeah.
Yeah, it almost feels like a sort of a betrayal.
Yeah.
Since a lot of the clients were with me
Years.
from day one
Yeah.
when I first started out freelancing, and they
Yeah.
grew with me
Yeah.
and vice versa.
Yeah.
And then you have to tell them, hey, I'm sorry, man, but I have to go
Yeah.
where you have to go left.
But what changed for
Yeah.
you now then? Because you did this literally 2 or 3 weeks ago, where you really made up more
Yeah.
time. You were already doing it, freeing up 3 days in a week for PPC
Mhm.
Mastery, doing freelance 2 or 3 days. But now recently you cut it down even further, because
Yeah.
then you have more time to build courses and
Mhm.
everything in PPC Mastery. What was that shift that you had recently then?
I still had too much going on
Yeah.
in my head and in my
Yeah.
work week.
Yeah.
I was still responsible for a hell of a lot marketing euros every single month. So in terms of the amount of clients, I went down quite a bit. I started out at 40, 15. In the first shift, I cut the amount of clients down to, I think, 8, 9. And now I have 5, 6. But I had 2 very big clients that I needed to spend, I think, 2 or 2.5, maybe 3 days a week on.
Yeah.
And those were my biggest clients.
Yeah.
So it was really hard for me to cut them off and say goodbye to them. But yeah, I just had to. So I came back from a motorcycle holiday.
Yeah.
I left my laptop at
Yeah.
home for the first time in 7 years.
Sick.
In 7 years,
Nice.
I always carried my laptop with me because of you're responsible for other people's money. So I couldn't just leave it at home. But now I was like, I have to leave this at home. And during the evenings, I also didn't bring my phone with me. So I started to think. I had space to think. And previously, all the weeks prior to that, I just had to move every single day, and there was no room to look back. No room to think about, hey, where do we want to go? Where do I want to go? But during the motorcycle holiday, it was one of the first times that I could clearly think. And I came back and I was like, we have to go for PPC Mastery 100%. Finally.
1 year later.
1 year later. We have to go for this, the 100%.
What was it like 1 year later? Oh, Miles, I have a great idea. Yeah, I think PPC Mastery. I think PPC Mastery is, we're onto something. I'm already like 150% all in.
And I was just holding off the boat.
But you were also all in, but
I was
in
dedicated.
the extra hours.
I was dedicated.
Yeah.
Creating kick-ass products.
Yeah, for sure.
But I felt really uncomfortable saying goodbye to my personal clients. But yeah, we just had to. That's when I recently pulled the plug. Yeah. And went all in, so to say.
Super nice. I think for us, for PPC Mastery, this is a big move. Because now, maybe the time that you spend is the same, but you're much more relaxed. I see it in you as well. Relaxed. The way that you came back from that trip.
I have time to go to do fitness.
Yeah, exactly.
To the gym. I haven't been gymming for 5 years. Because I just deprioritize every single thing.
And which is actually
more
the
time
most
for
important
family,
thing.
friends. And your health is the most important thing. But if you're working your ass off, you're like, I do not want to lose. I do not want to lose €1 a revenue at all, and I want to see growth every single month. You become like this insanely workaholic
robot
that I was. Things go better.
That's really good, man. And I think it also helps with PPC Mastery because now you can just take the time to build kick-ass products, which is the division that we have. Is you're mainly focused on the product side. So creating really good courses, really good resources, and the more headspace that you have for that, I think the better the quality of the product is going to be.
Definitely.
So I'm really happy that you have much more calm and less stress and more focus.
Me too.
Because it shows in the products that we create together that you're mostly responsible for. I think that's really good. And
but we're still doing some freelance gigs.
We
still have to put work into place.
Yeah.
And we still have to work in our accounts ourselves. In order to get up to stay up to speed.
And build up case studies and then teach that in our products.
So the clients that we still have are just the carte blanche clients that are okay with every single thing.
Test
where we can experiment, test. And spend some relaxed time on. But PPC Mastery is the 100% focus right now for both of us.
And what, maybe 2 more things, and then we can round this off for the first, like, how it all started episode. I think one cool thing to look at is what have we shipped until now in terms of products, and what are our plans for the future, for the near future. So I think maybe you can kick it off with what have we shipped until now after you mentioned Performance Max Mastery and the audit template. What came after that? Was it Masterclass?
Yeah, it was a masterclass.
That was really nice.
Yeah. Last winter, I was in the northern part of Spain. And that's when Tara, my wife, she went to Australia for a wedding of her family for, I guess, 6 or 8 weeks. So I hired this beautiful Airbnb next to a beach, but the weather was turning shitty already because North Spain is really, really beautiful. It's one of the most beautiful spaces, countries, areas in Europe, I think. But it has the same weather as the Netherlands. So it can be quite shitty. So it was raining every single day. And that's when I sold a masterclass to one particular agency, a Dutch agency. And it was also a sell before we build anything. So I had to build this thing from scratch. And it was basically the beginning of our masterclass program that basically consists of four days where we touch on all of the latest areas, topics within Google Ads.
Then it was 8 days actually. We had 8 workshops of 60 minutes. Later we did 4 workshops of 2 hours.
Way better. Way better to create some chunks. But it was in Dutch because the agency was Dutch, but they really, really loved it. So I guess I showed you the product afterwards and we discussed, hey, we can basically create this in English. We can add some additional details to this, some additional case studies, some additional insights. We can create a kick-ass product for the masterclass and just, well, let's see if we can get any traction on this. And we had some great traction selling the Google Ads masterclass. We have done three masterclasses until now. I think we're going to do the next masterclass in Q1 of 2024. But that was it is our biggest product until now. Next up was the conversion tracking mastery. So there was a big gap between the Google Ads masterclass and the conversion tracking mastery as a course because we basically did the masterclass every single quarter. That was the gig we were doing. It was a cohort-based product. It still is a cohort-based product. But we didn't develop anything in between. We basically tweaked the masterclass every single quarter to make it, to have it updated and make it as relevant as possible. But recently we started to create a shift towards a more on-demand product assortment, so to say. So it all started with the conversion tracking mastery, which is a 5-hour course.
Something like that.
5-hour course where we touch on everything that's related to conversion tracking within Google Ads. It is a kick-ass course. I think personally,
for sure,
a gap in the market that we filled in. And from there on, we are currently building, creating additional products that are also, I think, excellent products. So we're starting out with the search mastery course right now, which is all about search fundamentals. You are refilming the Performance Max Mastery course to increase the quality and to have all of the latest insights included again. And the next couple of months, we're basically going to touch on every single topic or campaign type within Google Ads. And I guess we're not done until late 2024.
We have so much to build.
And then it all starts over again because of all of the updates and all of the changes.
For sure.
But we have so much to build and we have so little time. And we're doing this with the both of us full time.
No employees, nothing.
No employees, nothing indeed. And it's still, we're going places, but
feels like we're still getting started.
It feels like we're still getting started. And we are.
We've been doing this for 1 year now and it's going really fast, but
also, in terms of products, terms of products, we're still lagging behind for us. If we're looking at ourselves.
And even though Masterclass is our best product or our most valuable product so far, doing a cohort takes a lot of energy and time.
It's intensive.
It is intensive, but it is definitely coming back. But in the meantime, we wanted to build some courses that were more like evergreen that we can offer to people, not only like time sensitive, but throughout the entire year. And also something that we're building right now is the PPC Hub membership, which will launch in September.
That will be epic.
That's going to be really epic. Like, to explain a little bit about that, after the last masterclass, we pitched it to all the masterclass students, and we got 50 founding members inside the new PPC Hub membership, which is a yearly membership in which we give all that we have basically, and it has 3 core pillars. If you join, then you will get a lot of on-demand training. So all of the courses that we have are going to be
included.
in there. Some courses are also, we're not going to sell everything on the front end. A lot of courses are going to be PPC Hub membership only as well. Then there's live trainings. We're doing like advanced workshops and stuff like that. And then there's also community aspect. And we're doing really cool events now with like roundtables, getting people to talk about different subjects.
It's cool.
And it's still in the alpha or beta phase with 50 founding members.
Yeah, we limited it to 50 founding members.
Yeah, to keep it small by design.
Yeah.
To gather feedback, and then in September, then we're going to open it up for everybody, and then we have a lot more courses inside, a lot of products. So that's going to be really epic.
A lot more members, exchanging ideas.
Yeah, exactly.
And we have some A players already in there.
Yeah.
So some really kick-ass Google Ads specialists that know what they're doing already.
And we want to maintain the same level as in the Google Ads Masterclass, where it's not designed for beginners. There are a lot of beginner Google Ads courses out there, but Masterclasses, we always say like it's for at least 1 year of experience, but maybe even a bit more.
At least meteors.
Because it goes into depth really fast, and it goes really fast. And we want to maintain the same level in our PPC Hub membership. So that's going to be super exciting, man. A few more, like 5 or 6 more weeks until we fully launch that.
So that will be the main focus.
Yep.
I think that will be our hero product. For the months to come.
For
the time being.
Absolutely.
And everything that we were going to build will be built for the PPC Hub.
Yeah.
But we might create separate standalone products for the things that we create as well, and just sell it directly on our website. But I think the deal or the offer that we have created for the PPC Hub is just too stupid to say no to.
That's what we hope to design it. Yeah.
So really, really looking forward to the launch in September.
Yeah. I think that's it, because now we spoke about our whole journey leading towards where we are right now. We've spoke about what is to be expected for the near future. We have so much more planned. Like the PPC Hub is the first thing that's coming up, most likely the new thing. But then, as you said, Q1 Masterclass, which is going to be free for PPC Hub members. A lot of extra products and courses, a lot of resources,
optimization courses,
checklists, free stuff, free trainings. We did a summer school training about conversion tracking last week or 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago, yeah. But that was a lot of fun as well. Like I felt like a streamer interacting with the chat, and we want to do more of those things as well. Of course, like a part of it is going to be paid because it's paid products, but we're definitely also looking at how can we do more stuff for free, like this podcast, for example, which is going to be really cool,
full of nice insights.
Nice insights. A lot more to come from PPC Mastery. But I think that concludes our first real episode.
Awesome.
I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you liked listening to our backstory of how we started PPC Mastery, and maybe in a year or so we can reflect on this and see where we are then, and see what we did in this year, the upcoming year.
We will have shipped
so much
in terms of products and resources.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Even if we look back at what we did in the last year alone, it's insane. But we never really stop and reflect, because we're just going, going, and there's always something else to build. Yeah. But thanks guys for listening. So as always, I want to end it with a call to action. Please subscribe. No, but if you're listening to this on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, we would appreciate a review, like leave 5 stars, or I think that's how that works. Share it with a friend or colleague. That would be appreciated. And if you can give us your feedback, just send it on Discord or LinkedIn. And in the next episodes, we will also tell you how you can submit questions that we can then, in some podcasts, talk about.
So we will prioritize some FAQ podcast episodes as well, where we will touch on the most upvoted questions in the space. Yeah. So we will touch on that in the future, in the next episode.
And we're building a page for that where you can submit questions. So we'll share how you can do that in next episodes and on LinkedIn and whatnot. So thanks everybody for listening, watching, viewing. If you're on YouTube, thanks. Appreciate it. And we'll see you in the next episode.
Ciao, ciao.
Peace.